you would stand and face the flag to I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the
United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Can we have Mr. Lee Simmons from The Point do the invocation for us?
So good to see you tonight, and so many people in the community gathered here for this, and the opportunity to begin with asking God's blessing. Let's pray together. Lord God, we thank you that you are the creator of the universe. Thank you, Lord, for this very special season of celebration and remembrance of the purpose and meaning of life. But God, we come tonight to ask your blessing upon this meeting, these leaders who have gathered. We thank you for King Solomon, who prayed for wisdom, and you gave us. I pray for wisdom for leadership tonight. I pray for a spirit of harmony, of cooperation, God, for the good of the community, from those that have the most to those that have the least, God, that all people will be considered and be cared for in a wonderful and compassionate way. So, God, let your spirit be present tonight. Let there be peace, God, as we think of the Prince of Peace who comes. And, God, we give you all the glory of what you've done, and we thank you in your precious name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Right. Roll call.
Commissioner Jackson,
Here.
Commissioner Williams,
Here.
Commissioner Willis,
Here.
Vice Mayor Hutchison,
Here.
Mayor Peasy.
Here. Approval of the agenda.
I'd like to move item J1 to follow directly after the approval of the agenda.
And also, Mayor, the beach business permit is going to be removed other than the resolution which extends the beach permit agreements until the end of February.
Okay.
That's being pulled by staff.
Okay. Thank you. All right. I got a motion to move J1 to the beginning here.
Okay, item J1, new business.
Wait, we don't have a
Second.
and we haven't voted on the agenda.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, item J1, new business, acceptance of resignation and approval of separation agreement and release added 12/7/23, representative, city manager, and city commission. Recommendation approve and accept.
Move to approve.
I got a motion.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Public comment. I don't know, are these comments that people submitted in reference to that or no? I guess not. Any public comment on the item? The beach permit stuff has been moved, it's been stricken from the agenda for tonight.
No. They're gonna, the resolution to extend is still on the agenda, but the whole drawn-out discussion probably was pulled by staff.
Okay, so I got a motion and a second. I just want to make a comment, and I just want to publicly thank you for all your hard work. You've done an amazing job. You have truly put a huge effort into this, and I think that I can see your hard work, and I love that you get stuff done, so I appreciate you. All right.
Should this be a roll call vote?
Yes, it should.
Roll call vote. All right, let's do a roll call vote.
Hang on, I want to say a few comments too.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So, yeah, thank you for your time. I've been on the job a year, and I know nothing about politics, so very gracious in everything. I appreciate that in terms of working with you. We don't see eye to eye on a lot of things, but it's always civil and respectful and very, very talented, so it's going to be I'll leave it at that.
Anybody else want to comment? Okay. Again, amazing. You're going to make a great city manager somewhere else, so they'll be good to have you. Happy to have you. Thank you. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Gabbard?
Aye.
Commissioner Williams?
Aye.
Commissioner Willis?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Hutchison?
Aye.
And Mayor Kapi's.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you. We're going to do a quick 10-minute recess, and we'll be back. Thank you. Just real quick, I had a couple people come up to me that didn't really understand what happened there. Just so you know, we did not vote to remove the city manager. The city manager had requested to resign, and she gave us the terms that she would like. So we voted to approve those terms. That's what that was there. That wasn't a vote for removal.
I'd like to make a motion.
Sure, go ahead.
Now that we have a vacancy in the city manager, I would like to make a motion that we promote Wayne Caragino to be our acting city manager at the full pay of the current city manager that just resigned, effective immediately, and have him come to the dais.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. We have any discussions or public comment? Really?
Do you accept?
Okay. All right, so motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
And just one point of process. Did Robin sign the
Yeah.
separation agreement?
Yes.
It's all completed. You signed.
It's all done.
Wayne?
Okay.
Congratulations, Wayne. Carry us forward, please.
Thank you, William. Public comments about items that are not on the agenda. All right?
I'd like to make one more motion.
Yes?
I'd like to move that we follow the previous process and hire a firm to do a search for a city manager similar to the ones we've done before, and have city staff kick that off as soon as possible. Is that okay with you, acting city manager? Yes.
Could we also put it out like externally, not just limit it to what they find?
It will be put out to the world, and internal or external can apply.
Okay.
Very good.
Can we start that tomorrow?
So I got a motion for that.
I said effective immediately.
Immediately.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Public comment?
Oh, public comment on that? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Staff reports and announcements.
Nothing, Susan.
Thank you, sir. City attorney, reports and announcements.
Nothing tonight, thank you.
All right. City commission, any reports or announcements?
I have a comment.
Oh, eeny, meeny, miny, moe, kick the tiger by its tail.
Ladies first.
Oh, go ahead.
I just wanted to say, I attended the Florida League of Cities conference, and it was last week, Wednesday through Friday. And Florida League of Cities is like the next level from Space Coast League of Cities, and all the elected officials get together. And they have this conference, I think, once a year. So it was out in Orlando. And there was several workshops, and I attended the workshops that they kind of taught you how the lobbyists do their work, and we did that up in Tallahassee. We didn't lobby, but we went with them, and how to get funding for various city projects which also was kind of a good follow-up to our Tallahassee trip. So, and I saw some of our local Brevard elected officials there too, like from Satellite Beach and everything. So it was really interesting, and I was glad I got to go. So I just wanted to report back.
And actually, thank you so much for being so diligent on that committee, and also for the port as well. You're part of that. She puts in a lot of extra work, and I really thank you for that, because I know it takes up a lot of time, so thank you. Go ahead, Jeremy. Vice Mayor Jeremy.
So those of you that saw the City Hall groundbreaking, it was on Saturday. There was a lot going on Saturday with the Christmas parade and the Winterfest, but I just wanted to go on record. There were some things I thought were inappropriate said there. Obviously, those regulars here know that I'm a fiscal conservative. I will challenge every budget item, so it's not that I didn't want City Hall. I just didn't want a $15 million City Hall. It passed 4-1, so I don't think it was appropriate to call me out on that. It was building, regardless of how I voted, but I didn't appreciate it, and I will always challenge things. We're not going to get unanimous votes just because it's a rubber stamp thing to do. So I'll leave it at that.
Thank you. I actually second that. Jeremy, I know you work very hard and you definitely have a voice for a sect in the community. And I appreciate your voice. Even if it doesn't match everything, you're here for a reason. And I respect that. So thank you very much.
I agree.
I'll agree with the mayor.
Thank you. Yeah, it was uncalled for sure. I want to say we got Christmas coming up. Merry Christmas for sure. The boat parade's this Saturday. I'm very excited about that because I love boats and anything to do with boats, as you guys have maybe figured out by now. Christmas is cool, but boats are cooler. Just joking. No, happy birthday, Jesus, for sure. Anyways, that's all I have to say. All right, that was it. Consent agenda.
Okay, this is the consent agenda. Item 1, approve the October 19, 2023 and November 16, 2023 commission meeting minutes. Representative, City Clerk Department, recommendation approve. Item 2, authorize the posting of a statement of no available surplus city property applicable for affordable housing projects. Senate Bill 102 of the State of Florida Live Local Act is a comprehensive statewide workforce housing strategy designed to increase the availability of affordable housing. This act provides funding for workforce housing programs, incentives, and opportunities, and works to refocus Florida's housing strategy that makes housing more attainable. 2 direct impacts upon the city are: A, the requirement to post on the city's website a list of surplus city property that is available for affordable housing development, and B, the enactment of policy and procedures for expedited review and processing of affordable housing permit applications. Staff has reviewed all city-owned property and has determined that no available land exists. Representative Robin R. Hayes, City Manager, recommendation authorize. Item 3, approve the piggyback on Orange County, that was deleted. Okay. Item 4, appoint Kay Hall to the Land Management Committee for a term expiring January 15, 2025. Commissioner Joshua Jackson, seat 2. Representative Joshua Jackson, Commissioner, recommendation approved. Item 5, approve the 5-year mutual aid agreement with Kennedy Space Center for fire department support in emergency situations, effective upon signing the contract. The purpose of the contract is to establish an agreement that will assist in furnishing fire protection and rescue services. The agreement allows each party to render aid to the other and access to fire rescue services beyond each party's existing capabilities. Representative Ryan Duckworth, Fire Chief, recommendation approved. Item 6, approve the renewal of the wrecker service agreement with Cocoa Beach Auto Repair. Representative Mike Coffin, Chief of Police, recommendation approved.
Move to approve the consent agenda as read.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, item I, unfinished business. 1, approve the USTA contract renewal as revised after negotiations between the city and USTA Florida. Representative Laird McLean, Leisure Services Director, recommendation approved.
Move to approve as read.
Got a motion?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. I believe this was for this agenda item. Sal Ragusi, I think, was that was in reference to this? Oh, the beach one has been removed.
No,
No,
the
no.
resolution's
Just
still
B,
on,
just the second half.
the ordinance is.
First half.
Some
is
of the
still on.
beach one is coming up shortly.
Oh, okay.
2B, 2A is on.
All right, so that was not for that one. Okay. So I got a motion and a second. Public comment on the, public comment on the
It's the USTA
USTA one?
contract.
Public comment on USTA? All right, all right, motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. All opposed, motion passes.
So Becky, you're just gonna read item I2, Part A. Is that correct?
That's correct. Okay, this is in reference to beach permits. Adopt Resolution 2023-20, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Cocoa Beach, Florida, to extend the expiration date of beach business license agreements that would otherwise expire before February 29, 2024 until February 29, 2024, and providing an effective date. This resolution extends the expiration date of beach business contracts ending on December 1, 2023 through February 29, 2024.
Move to approve as read.
Got a motion?
Second.
Motion and a second. And if I'm correct, Becky, this is just to extend the contracts until we
Yes.
figure out exact wording and everything we need to be done in here?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Any public comment? I think, Saul, you had about the beach projects?
Yeah, the only thing I question is, why does this unit at the end of Marion Lane, it's a C-van that holds umbrellas and chairs and beach chairs. All we asked to do is to move it 100 feet over, where it's hidden by sea grapes and it's out of sight. Right now, it's an unsightly condition. I got pictures of it. I got people using that as a bathroom at that times, hiding. At nighttime, I don't know what's going on in there. We just need to, it's just unsightly for us. I mean, we pay taxes, we paid a lot of money for our units, and now we have this thing sitting there. And we just ask for your understanding of what we're up against. Just move it 150 feet to north of that, where it's sitting right now.
Okay,
We're not asking much.
all right, thank you. May I ask Tanja, if you're here, do you by chance know what he's talking about? You can sit down, sir. You can sit down.
Yeah, the trailer at the end of Marion Lane, that's one of the ones that we're looking at. And I'm not sure, I know Becky talked to the attorney about that, but that was one of the reasons why we pulled it off, because we wanted to make sure that we get everything correct.
Okay, so you're working with him right now, so,
I just met her.
No.
oh, okay.
No,
This
we've
is
never
who you
met,
need to
but
talk to.
I do have the complaints from the residents at that location,
Okay,
and that's a part of our review process.
okay, yeah, so in the future, when you talk with the city, Tanja is the one that can help you with that, thank you.
Mhm. All right.
Any other public comment on that? Yes.
Yeah, I filled out a card and
All right.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I didn't get it, but please come up and
Okay, I,
state your name and address, and you got 3
Sure.
minutes.
My name is Laura Hughes Postema, and I live at 4100 Ocean Beach Boulevard, apartment, or condo 312. And I do have a couple of things, if I can,
Sure.
okay, a couple of copies of what I'm speaking of to. It is the same unit that Sal spoke about. I'm not sure who would want to see that. I took pictures this morning and earlier last week. I do have notes on the back of them. So in time, I won't go through all of those, but just different notes on what we see at 4100. And to second what Sal said, it is an eyesore. And that placement really does obstruct our view. And again, like Sal said, move it 150 feet down, and there, it would be covered by the existing sea grapes and things of that nature. But moving beyond that, if that's not possible, from what you had online, this is the map of all of the vendors that you have. This particular trailer is not on this map, and I drew it on there where it is. It's right there. So it does not have a number, and the numbers are from 1 to 15. And then looking at your business impact estimate, which is also on the website, it says under number 1, a total of 15 beach business vending areas will be permitted at the Ocean Beach Park. Well, this one is not numbered, so this would be number 16, okay? I think that's important. And also moving down in Exhibit B, if that doesn't work, in Exhibit B on behavior of the vendors, on page 5, which is under Section K, termination of license agreement, subsection J, if there are any disturbances there. Now, I have not witnessed any fights or anything like that, but to second Sal, what I have witnessed is people urinating there during the day when people are at the beach, people changing their clothes. And if you look at my last picture, this just happened earlier, the nice day that there was this week. That is a man urinating right there. And so we're looking out on the beach, and that man went there because he was right in front of our house, or condos, doing that. And my husband yelled down and said, "Hey, this is not a bathroom." He waved, walked down, and there it is. So that happens all summer long and all spring long. People change their clothes there. And I think they do it, they protect themselves so the people on the beach don't see it, but they forget that there's a condo back there and we can all see that. So not a good thing. So that's one thing. Then if you look back a couple more pages. Okay, under operational requirements, I'm on page 7. Number 6 under operational requirements. A storage container is limited in size to the size described in the license agreement and shall be sand-colored and maintained in good condition. That is not sand-colored, it is not maintained in good condition. There's been all kinds of graffiti on there that's now been scratched off. It is not in good condition. Drop down further, please, to number 10. Nighttime operation of the beach business is strictly prohibited. Signage on any storage container must be removed at the conclusion of license holder's hours in operation when no business is being conducted. Okay, so the sign is always there, and the sign simply says that if that location is closed, please go down the beach, however many feet to the next one. Number 12, go down to 4400, okay? That particular location, this unnumbered one at 4100, is not open hardly at all. It's very infrequently opened, but it stays there.
Thank
So
you. I'm
that is
going to
my-
stop you there because you're more than 3 minutes,
Okay.
but I will,
Thank you.
I will address some of that stuff with, let me ask Tandra some more
Okay,
questions.
thank you.
So Tandra, from what I understand, the reason why that is not on the list is because that wasn't an updated picture and list?
Well, the business that we're talking about is not actually one of the license agreements. We have a different type of business that was put in place many years ago. It's a franchise. So a lot of the things that the other licensing agreement holders are following are not in that particular franchise agreement that the person has. And that's one of the things, again, that we pulled off the agenda so we could talk about that franchise and how we negotiate the contract to make sure that we get this right.
Is there an end date on that franchise?
Yes, December
Yes,
31st.
Yes, it's one that is having to be extended.
Yes.
Okay.
It has to be extended. And the agreement that you're reading is the proposal that we have. That's the one that's online, is the proposal to clean up a lot of those issues. As, I'm sorry, I didn't catch it. Laura stated that all of those things that are not being followed is the reason that we put them in there, so we could, monitor them better and have some actual, language that our code enforcement officers can use when they go out there.
So that particular franchise wouldn't, that franchise, even though it's not one of the current rental agreements, would be terminated if they don't comply with the new regulations?
Yes.
Or would not
I think
or would
we're-
not be renewed, I guess would be the proper wording.
Yes, and this was the one that she's had it for 60-some years. She has appeared here before. I think you know who she is.
Yeah.
That is, and it's a very large area, and there are no boundaries to the area. I didn't realize that any of it was in front of a condominium. So we just need to address those issues.
Okay. Thank you, Tanja. Actually, so just so you guys know, that's
So it's
part of the reason why this item was pulled, because we are looking into some more stuff that has come to our attention. So
Correct.
appreciate you bringing it to our attention. We're on it, and we're trying to work through it. So thank you. Thank you, Tanja.
Thank you.
So technically, you're, Tanja, can you come back up to that? Sorry. So technically, the point on the map that she's showing is part of one of the number of franchises.
Yes, except it's my understanding that there really isn't a boundary for that area, so it goes from apparently
Okay. So
one
the
of the,
only reason-
and on the map, it's right here, and there's a huge amount of space before you come to another one, and I guess it includes all of that.
All right, thank you.
And one of the things I did want to clear up is we changed the language to vending areas and then granted locations. So the 15 is vending areas, and the granted locations will be an actual location that you're granted to work in within that area of vending. And it looks as if the city identified those areas before, because they were areas where we may have needed some additional activity for customers to use, as well as some of the areas on the beach where there's already some activity.
And then we'll put these in public record, these pictures here. Okay, so we had a motion and a second. All in favor? Oh, more comments? Go ahead.
Tim Tumulty, Cocoa Beach. I know Commissioner Williams, you were on the commission when we started this process about having concessions on the beach. And we didn't want Cocoa Beach to be run over by concessions. You know, from one end of the beach, 6 miles to the other end of the beach. That's what we did not want that. Initially, I believe we had 13 locations. Now we have 15. Apparently, some of them now are overrunning their own boundaries. And, you know, that certainly was not the intent. It was certainly not the intent for them to be in front of condos or anyone else, any upland property owners, and, you know, infringing on their rights and, you know, to view the sea. That's why they moved there. You know, so that was our intent. And I don't want that to get lost into these folks having all this, you know, we granted them access in certain locations so that we can control it, not so they could control us in the city of Cocoa Beach. And I just wanted to make that clear that that's what was happening. And I know we're going to talk about this at another meeting, but I just want to mention it, that it's very important that the upland property owner has a say into what's happening on the beach. Just want to throw that out there. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, any other public comment? All right, so the motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 5-0. All right. business J2.
Okay, this is item 2, approve submitting permits and advertising for a request for proposal for the Constitution Bicentennial Park plans located at 801 Cocoa Beach Causeway, based on public and engineering comments. Representative Wayne Caragino, acting city manager and project manager. Recommendation approved to proceed.
I move to approve to proceed.
Got a motion and a second
Question, or do
to
we,
approve. I wanted to just make a comment.
It says with public, based on public and engineering comments.
Yeah, so just to reiterate, you guys are all in favor of scrapping the
Pavilion.
pavilion and adding showers?
yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to, make sure that
Yeah.
this language accounts for that.
Exactly. I saw somebody just bring up a public comment card.
Next.
Okay. Any public comment on this? Go ahead. 3 minutes, Janice.
All right, I'll try 1.5. Janice Scott, Cocoa Beach. About Bicentennial Park, it's 30 years overdue renovating that boat ramp and the flooding, et cetera, et cetera. I drive by there at least 6 times a week, and I think it's great that this project's finally underway, but I did want to mention that I've been watching kiteboarding since the early 80s when it started out in Europe, or I appeared to. And it's really interesting to watch and entertaining. However, I don't know if you all have noticed that the east side of 520, the north side of 520, has a new group. I don't know if there are several groups. I know there are 2 vendors that operate out of Bicentennial Park, or at least their vehicles say that they're commercial rentals. But on the north side, the other day there were probably 15 cars on the shoulder. And now there are also some pilings have been put in there, because I know there's a buzzard in the neighborhood that really likes to sit on one of those pilings, and you go by, it makes me laugh. I don't think that's very safe there. I don't know if somebody wants to look at it while you're doing the south side of the park, Bicentennial Park, and find a way to improve the safety. I don't know if the wind's better sometimes on the north, but I see them on both sides now, so just thought I'd mention it.
Thank you, Janice. Any other public comment on this?
They've set pilings on the side of 520.
Melissa Byron, Cocoa Beach. What Janice is talking about is it's not the kiteboarders. It's the guys that are on the surfboard, kiteboard surfing, and they look like they just join up and do whatever they want, but it's dangerous. There were more than 15 cars on that side, and the pilings were put up so you wouldn't launch there. It was blocking, one of these homemade launches, how people go and launch places they're not supposed to. There's a homemade launch on that side that was blocked, so they wouldn't do it, but they're still doing it. Because the kiteboarders don't go on the north side. They stay on the south side by Bicentennial. The other thing is that I don't know if you have had any discussions or comments from other companies outside of Cocoa Beach. I've heard the Orlando kiteboarders want to change the program at the last minute.
We already discussed that.
I'm hoping that you're not going to do that.
No, we're going forward with everything.
With the same thing, which is
Yeah.
the boat ramp stays.
Yes, everything's the same, like I told you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
With a few minor tweaks.
Yeah, two minor changes, removing the pavilion and adding showers. Any other public comment on that? All right, we got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion passes 5-0. All right, next, new business, item 2.
That isn't okay,
We did that.
item 3, approve a contract with Edgewater Resources Florida to conduct a marina feasibility study at a cost not to exceed $150,000 as recommended by the evaluation committee. This is a budgeted item. Representative Wayne Caragino, acting city manager, Martha Horak, purchasing and contract administrator. Recommendation approved.
Move to disapprove.
Okay, I got a motion to disapprove the City Marina.
I'll second because I want to hear the discussion.
Okay? I mean, it should be a motion to approve or just not approve, so we could just do a motion to approve and you can
I
discuss
may
it.
approve, I can make a motion to deny, and that's what I did. I said disapprove, deny, synopsis.
Okay. Well, let's have a discussion on this. How's that?
Okay. So I said this before, when we were, you made a campaign promise to, try to do a marina, which is a great idea. It's a great idea. And it could be a money-making idea for the city. Has to be run by the city. It can't be a public-private partnership because of the state's restrictions on the land. But the thing is, it is never gonna happen. So we're throwing $150,000 away because and prior to being on the commission for these 16 years now, was chairman of the Waterways and Wildlife Advisory Board. And I grew up on this river. I grew up in Indian River County, Sebastian, Wabasso. I didn't see a manatee till I was 12, and I was on the river. I was allowed to go out in a boat by myself when I was 5. I had my own boat and motor when I was 8. I got called a liar because I saw the Loch Ness Monster, first manatee, when I was 12. There used to be grass flats and everything else, and they ate up all the grass flats, and no more scooping your own shrimp and all that. The manatees proliferated. We used to have ski areas. You used to be able to ski around the island behind the high school. When the wind was bad on the river, everybody skied back there. You did too, Keith.
Oh, yeah.
And we have one little ski area at the end of Minuteman.
Ski Island.
At the end of Minuteman Causeway along the golf course on the west side. And I fought to save that. And I fought it all the way to the federal court against the manatee people that wanted that eliminated because it was dangerous to the manatees, even though it's deep water there. There was, in all the data that had ever been found, there was one manatee that had been hit but not killed on the very south end of that ski area. And I told the judge, I said, look, we just want to keep this little ski area. And he says, well, they only want that one little piece. And I said, they already have the entire rest of the city they took away from us. That's all we had left. And the guy gave it to him. So if you think you can get it through the Corps of Engineers, you think you can get it through St. John's Water Management, if you think you can get it through fine, if you think you can get grants, great. But the manatee people are gonna fight that all the way to the Supreme Court. You won't even be on the commission anymore. You know, I mean, you even if you get elected as mayor for 8 years, they'll fight it that long. It took 4.5 years for them to finally get our ski area. I don't see it happening, and I don't support it because I think we're throwing $150,000 of the taxpayers' money away. And that's where I stand. I don't see it happening,
All right,
based
thank
on
you.
my wisdom and my experience.
I appreciate that. How many marinas have you talked to since this has come up about how profitable they are? Or
I know, I told you, it's a great
How
idea.
feasible they
It could be very profitable, but it ain't gonna happen.
So we had a committee, just so you guys know, we discussed this with six different firms, actually, and pretty much every single one of them, and Wayne was there for it, had said that was absolutely the best spot for a marina. It It was made for it. Even in the initial plans of making the golf course, it was a golf course / marina facility. That's what it's labeled as. I'll say that these firms would not be bidding on this or going for this if it wasn't actually feasible. They're not in there to just do a feasibility study and get out. They want this to happen. This, I'm telling you right now, I've talked to Cape Crossings as well. I said, hey, I've got some commissioners that may be on the fence about this issue, and they are more than willing to meet with you guys on this as well. When I told him that they believe that it could be, your thing was a money pit at one point, you said, just like the pool. Totally different thing than a pool. What he told me was money hand over fist. If you could do a public-private partnership, count me in. He said, maintenance is low. It takes about 2 to 3 people to run it. He said, you should do it. Blue Points is shutting down. We have the perfect opportunity. It was made for us at this point to get this stuff going through. The feasibility study, they said, would take about, correct me if I'm wrong, but around 6 to 9 months, Wayne?
Actually more like 10, 12.
10, 12 months. So I think I'm not a gambling man. Usually whenever I do something, it's a sure thing bet. And this thing, to me, I believe is something that is going to make this city money. It's going to create an amazing amenity and bring in a clientele that's much better than a parking garage for the type of people that we're going to bring in here.
Could you run it by, just put together a couple of pager and run it by St. John's, Corps of Engineers, and get their take on whether they think it's a great idea before we spend $150,000?
Or another, I don't know, who you asking, the mayor or the attorney?
I'm asking everybody.
The other approach is, so it's a financial risk for us, right? So you said they're not interested in doing the feasibility, so they want the long game. Is that something they could share that risk or own that risk if they're confident of it?
This firm has nothing to lose, the one we're.
No, but they absorb the cost for the study, so it's no risk to the city until it gets approved.
Edgewater
It takes the
Resources?
risk off the city and the taxpayers.
No, we pay these Edgewater Resources people.
No,
It's
I know
actually
I'm
came in
saying-
at, what, 132,000 or something? It's not actually 150.
They're at, that's just.
No, it's $12,000 less than 150.
138,000. It's actually 138,000 what they came back at. I know it's a little less, but hey, if we're saving a little money on bicentennial, I think it's worth the risk, it's worth the reward. I would not put us in this position, and you know how I am with money. I do not like to waste money.
Good for $12 million city hall.
11.5.
I mean, as part of, I'm looking at the scope of work. So we're gonna get, in this study, we're gonna get a schedule, a detailed project plan. They're gonna meet with the project manager, our project manager. So this includes one public meeting and initial presentation for the commissioners, a public meeting with interested stakeholders, final presentation to commissioners, and 5 virtual meetings over the 12-month project schedule. Is that, this study is gonna take 12 months? Is that what that's saying?
Wayne could speak.
Can you
greater
explain
on
how
this.
this works? And then I wanted to know if we do this, if part of the study could be, does it affect our grant for the,
That is part of it.
it is part of it?
Yeah, they're not
Okay.
going to do it otherwise.
You're talking about the capping project.
Yeah, yeah.
They would have to evaluate the impact on the capping.
Is that part of the,
That's part of the initial feasibility study, yes.
okay.
But it doesn't say anything about them reaching out to Corps of Engineers or St. John's or any of the other DEP or any of the other regulatory agencies to get their initial approval for this $150,000.
Right, that's phase two of that.
Yeah, well, we're going $130-some thousand, and we haven't even approached the people that can say yes or no. I'm saying you could approach those people now and say, the same thing you brought to us, the PowerPoint slide, here's the Marina, 100 slips, right here on this geographic location. What do you think? And if the Corps of Engineers says, bring me a study with some details and we'll think about it, great. If they say hell no, then we save $132,000.
Actually, there's a representative here if you.
Yeah, let's hear from the representative.
Want to entertain him?
Get that too.
Hi folks, Brock Petrak, I'm an engineer at Edgewater. Task 5 in our proposal is pre-application meetings. So we design marinas in Florida. We understand that the manatee protection plan is a critical point in the feasibility of any marina. So the initial thing that you do when you're doing a feasibility study is you look at your physical, regulatory, market, the feasibility of the project. That's the point of the study. So task 5 is pre-application meetings. It's once we have an idea of what a marina could look like here in Cocoa Beach, then we go to the Army Corps, we go to the county because they control the manatee protection plan, which you're talking about, and we go to the DEP. We circle the wagons on all of them and we ask, with this proposed conceptual plan, the pre-application meeting is their feedback, their feel for what the feasibility study that we've put together could look like to them.
And would that include the fact that we're having a capping project?
Yes,
done too?
yes,
You
that's
would
part of
include
the
that?
physical and regulatory that we would take into consideration. So with this, we would know with pretty much without a doubt that we would be able to build or not.
The idea of our feasibility study package is that when we're done, you know exactly whether or not, I mean, within the first few months, you know exactly whether or not you can, but we, like you said, we wouldn't be bidding if we thought there was not going to be a marina here. But it's what that marina could look like. How many slips? How big are the slips? Where's your transient dockage? Where's your seasonal dockage? Floating, fixed, all of that gets done through the feasibility study, but we know early on the majority of the makeup of that through talking with the agencies.
So could you develop enough material to take it to the agencies to get their take on it for like half the price and then have a phase 2 to follow on if they say yes?
Phase 2 would be permit applications, which is done once you do hard engineering work.
So that's extra on top of the 132,000 we're talking already?
The fee we're talking about includes multiple studies for the feasibility of a marina. One of those tasks that adds to that total number is pre-application meetings with the regulatory agencies.
Right, but it's not the actual, to go in, to follow on to this, phase 2 would be to actually apply for the permits and do the detailed engineering.
Yes, phase 2 would be to build the marina.
That's a
the first step of that.
separate cost to this 132,000.
Correct. This budget is for a study, a feasibility study.
All right.
This
so-
is to let us know whether we can in fact do it or not. I mean, that's what we
But
need to know.
it's not going to say that we're going to get approval from FDEP, Corps of Engineers,
But that,
or any of that.
whether you can do it or not is the feasibility study. And what you're trying to say, I believe, is the reason we couldn't be able to do it would be the regulatory agencies. We will know that based on this budget, the task we have in there. When we're done, we'll know exactly what we can or cannot build.
All right.
The thing that's happened for
Doesn't
so
mean-
many
It doesn't
years.
mean that the Manatee Club can't sue the heck out of us, but oh well.
So feasibility, you're talking what areas of feasibility, like environmental, structural, construction, environmental, like all the, like what is feasibility?
Exact feasibility, you can break it down into the different components of financial, what can the city afford, and what is best for the payback of this marina. Physical would be the limitations of the fetch of water that we're dealing with, the wind and wave conditions that we want to design for, our physical limitations on the docks themselves. Regulatory feasibility is environmental, it's your local laws, it's state laws, it's federal laws. So it's the Army Corps, DEP, the Manatee Protection, which is governed by the county, all of that is included in feasibility.
Thank you. The reason why this hasn't happened before is because every time, or when somebody proposes something, it's always, no, we can't do that, it can't work. You guys don't know until we actually get a feasibility study and make sure that we know.
And we're spending
We're
$132,000
gonna-
to do it.
If we make it, we'll be making $750,000 a year in profit, and I know that for a fact. And they'll probably corroborate that once they do their full-on initial study. I guarantee you it's right around those numbers.
So would you support a marina if it's 100% guaranteed to be approved? Is it unknown to 150K?
Oh, no, yeah.
The idea.
If I knew that it was gonna get approved by all the regulatory agencies and we weren't gonna get sued by the Manatee people, my first statement was, I think it's a great idea.
So, I mean, that's my whole point. Is there a way we can get risk deferred for
That's
phase
why we
one
had
and
to do
phase two?
that's why we had to do a
That's what
feasibility
this
study.
is this is your risk
Build that
analysis.
cost into it. They absorb the cost on phase one, so it's not a risk to the city.
That,
Charges in phase two.
that would be up to them. If I was them, that would be something they would have to, I mean, at that point, then I would say we're in bed with them and we're guaranteed that we have to use them for the rest of everything, so.
Right, but it helps the citizens, so they're not outlaying that, and then it becomes a decision, do we want a marina or not? It's not the risk of.
And I do not know if he has the authority to say that right now.
No, I certainly don't have the authority to negotiate the contract.
Runs on record.
Yeah. So I appreciate, let me hear some public comment, because I know there's a lot of people that are not exactly on board. Go ahead.
What's the motion on the table?
Deny.
Discipline.
Rick Anderson, 1800 Minuteman Causeway, and I'm absolutely 100% in favor of the feasibility study. I think it's potentially a transformational project for the city, and to just, at this point, to just shut the option off, I think would be a mistake. There's no guarantee in anything. There's no guarantee in life of anything, and there's no guarantee that somebody won't sue you at any point along the process. But I think it's worthwhile expenditure, especially since it's already budgeted, to find out if it's actually possible to do it or not.
Thank you. Thank you, Rick. Go ahead, Melissa.
I know I'm retired and I'm forgetful, but when you all decided to do this feasibility study, and you all were on the commission, you said, we're going to pay $75,000 in 2024 and $75,000 in 2025 budgets. Thank you. And you said, we're all for it with the caveat that the staff research to make sure that we can do it. Not that how you do it, not how many we're going to do it, not any of the stuff that they're proposing, which is great. So why are we changing that? That was supposed to be done to say, come in here and say, yeah, we talked to the guys for capping. We talked to them for about the $36 million of the grant. They said, sure. We talked to the Manatee people. They said, sure. Talked to the Corps of Engineers. They said, no. Somebody just, or if they all say, yes, that's great, then do the feasibility study. Then you can do your economics. Then you can do where it fits. Then you can do that. But right now, you're going to spend $132,000 on here's a beautiful picture, here's how it will look, we think it's fantastic, if you put it here, it's going to make this much money, it's going to cost little, nothing, but how wonderful this is, and it's a moneymaker for the city. And then you take that study and you say, look at our pretty pictures, and you take it to the government officials that control the water, that we don't, and they say, sorry guys, no, we're not doing that. We're not allowing you to do this back in that area. I mean, there's a lot of residential back there, and, I don't know, if I owned a big boat, am I going to come all the way around going putt, all the way around to get back to this marina? I doubt it. How are they going to feel about having gas there? You're talking about polluting because it spills. What are you going to do about the sanitation? Which is in the thing. The plan says they're going to have a sanitation blowout place and all this kind of stuff. I mean, a full marina is great. Yeah, Cape Crossing was wonderful. It's on the barge canal. It was already established there. You notice they keep Tingley's whole area near what they wanted to do. So, you know, I'm all for it again if you get all your I's dotted and your T's crossed with the government regulations that say what you can and can't do. And then if you want to continue with this, why don't you just do phase 5? He just said, or step 5, which says we will help compile the stuff to meet with the regulatory people. I mean, that's way down the line. Read the 13 pages. They're not going to get you the permits. They're not going to get you what we need to do this. Read it, it's in there. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. They're just going to say, here it is, it's beautiful, and it's ready to go, and here are the pictures to go show. So we need the environmental impact. We need to make a call and find out if we can or can't do this. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
KP Finke, 190 Seminole Lane. And I think I'm saying pretty much the same what Melissa just said, except I urge you to read the last like 7 or 8 points, which is the cover my behind in the RF, in the statement from that company, where it exactly spells out what you're not getting. So what you're writing here is $150,000, and then there is another step that'll get you to the approvals, and then we do the water study, and then we do this, and then we do that. So at least I urge you to get an idea what step 2 to get all this regulatory stuff across would cost in addition to the 150 for the nice pictures.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Good evening, Latham Kellum, resident, South Cocoa Beach. I grew up on a marina, a part-time Vero Beach Marina, and it was a pretty fun experience, put it that way. But it is a very useful idea. It's in an area that, I was skeptical at first till I actually saw the plan for it, and that area's been underutilized forever. So the idea is, you want to make money at something, you take something from low value or no utilization at all, look into it, and you may get a return, bring it to a higher value. That's economics 101. One thing that we do experience in Cocoa Beach is storms. And one thing that's really unique about that property is it's surrounded on 300 degrees. It's got the opening to the south, and it's a protected area. Most of the canal homes in Cocoa Beach have your boats are behind your house. It's very convenient, very protected, the finger canals. But what's exposed on the outer side along Country Club, South Cocoa Beach, Snug Harbor, all those get hit super hard. People lose boats every storm. That's a feature that this place, once I saw the plans, I'm like, this makes total sense. Incomparable to Patrick Air Force Base, their yacht club that they have, that marina there. And I've been around. I've been Rhode Island, Boston, Hull, Massachusetts, and a lot of maritime areas. And Cocoa Beach is basically, we're a maritime town. Like we're an ocean-based and river-based community, but we don't really have a real marina. I think it's a great idea to pursue feasibility, 150 grand, 130 grand, whatever. Maybe immaterial at the returns that you might see further down the road. But I think it's definitely smart to look into, and it does give us an option for the future. And the skepticism and all those things are all very valid points. Everybody brought up a crazy, perfectly valid point. I think you'll get that in your feasibility study and get that return. And the decision to actually build it or not is further down the road. But to not look at it right now, when it's pretty much underutilized, it's just a canal, basically. And if anybody's not familiar with it, take a ride down the Country Club, around the corner here, and look down by the gazebo. You see this big open area, they got plenty of room, and it's very, very protected for storms. And notice for a fact, I believe Keith was a tugboat captain for years, and up in the Trident Basin, up at Cape Canaveral during storms, you could pull into that spot, 120 mile an hour winds at like 60 feet high, and it's like 5 miles an hour at sea level. The boats are protected, so it does offer that. And I think it's a wise idea to look into it before you don't get that opportunity. Construction costs are higher. There's other community pressures or build out, or something else happens and you lose that opportunity. So you have an opportunity now, look into it. I think it's feasible, 150 grand, whatever it was. It sounds like a good idea. So that's my input. But thank you again. Thanks for your time.
Can I ask you something?
Yes.
Just thought of something while he was saying it. Two questions. So I guess we also got to think about, and I don't know if this will, how are we going to get parking, you know, and how are we going to get over there? Are we going to have to build a parking lot farther down? Are we going to a walkway or something? And I mean, that would be something
Yeah,
maybe
so
we could ask for.
If you look at these other marinas, you'll notice that the parking lots are not very huge for a marina because really most people park their boats and they'll use their boat maybe 2 times a month, once a month. People need a place to put their boats, and most people have to choose between living in a condo on the ocean or on a house on the ocean, or they get to live on a canal and put their boat behind their house. But the thing is, most people, they had to choose. And there's thousands of people that live in condos on the beach, and they're somewhere that they want to put their boat. They don't want to have to go to the port for it. But to your point,
We might have to see if we have to, you know,
that'll all
of the
be
study,
part of the feasibility study as
if we
well.
have to put in
But-
extra like walkways or driveways or and I don't know if we have to specify that in the contract if we get this. And also, I was thinking, maybe, I don't know if it's possible, if maybe we could renegotiate the contract to add this, or at least see if we get these applications, permit applications for zoning and land use. These detailed drawings include parking lot counts, stormwater drainage. Maybe, I don't know if we can see if we can add, because that's under exclusions right now. Maybe if we can see if we can add it or renegotiate. That's an
Okay.
idea. I don't know. It would answer a lot of
just-
these people.
Just real quick, we've got here to represent. I know the reason why it's not getting fully submitted is because you have to have a pretty much a completed plan in order to submit for permits to make sure that you can get it. Is that correct?
Exactly. So to the point that was just made about talking to the agencies before we do market feasibility or physical feasibility, when you go and you schedule a pre-application meeting for the agencies, you have to be able to show them a plan that they react to. You can't come in with a plan without first doing market and physical feasibility to know what the marina could possibly look like. Then to do a permit application requires an engineering sheet set of drawings with typical sections and plans, and it's a full engineering process to get to that point, and that's more than $150,000 budget can handle.
So in talking about this, if we were to approve this tonight, it doesn't immediately take place, right? And I'm almost wondering if the options aren't are not mutually exclusive, right? That we couldn't take action to reach out to the 3, in this next week, put in phone calls and just say, hey, if we were considering this, are we out of our minds kind of thing? And my suspicion is, and this is just guessing, that they're going to say, it really depends. Like going in as an owner builder to the development services, I can go and give them some rough drawings. That doesn't mean my permit application is going through. I might get some feedback, but a lot of it's going to depend on the specific features and things associated with the plans. From a government perspective, we might luck out and get somebody who's willing to give us a clear shot and say, well, at least bring your application, or say, absolutely not. But most of the time, I think what we're going to get, even if our city were to call, and I don't think it's a bad idea, is it all depends on your plans. And so I think we're still going to be stuck with doing the feasibility study. But to Skip's point, we can ask the city to, during this next week, please reach out to these 3 organizations and at least ask the question. I don't think that would be preventative or mutually exclusive from going forward with this.
That was the action first go round though, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
that
to
was
Melissa's point.
when we talked about the 75 and then another 75.
So just so you guys know too, this is
Spending,
already in the
132
budget.
this
I
fiscal
mean, this isn't something that we're going to have to figure out where the money's coming from. We've already
Only
did budget for this.
75,000 was in this
Yeah,
year's budget.
yeah, but
We fast forwarded the
in
other-
1 month, the rest of it comes in.
It's fiscal year.
This next year will be fully.
No, this is,
In
we're
September.
already in fiscal year '24.
This will happen in September, October next year.
From what I understand, we have the funding for this. By the time that's done, it'll be paid for.
It's funded $75,000 for this fiscal year and $75,000 for next fiscal year.
2024.
This takes 12 months, right?
Next
we're in
fiscal-
This October.
Next fiscal year is 2025.
October 1 to October 1. Okay.
So this is above budgeted.
I mean, do we pay up front or do we pay when it's done? Then it would be fine because
Yeah,
it
it
takes
says
12
this
months.
is a budgeted item.
Yeah.
All right, we bill based on monthly services, so it's
Okay,
not a
so-
$75,000 check that you're
We
writing.
bill as we go, but we already have it budgeted regardless.
We only have $75,000
understand.
budgeted.
But next
October.
time that it comes
October.
around, it's all
October
gonna
1,
get paid
24.
back.
Not till October.
It'll get paid back.
Didn't we talk about doing 2 locations too in the study? Did we talk about that?
They did, but I mean, honestly, I mean, I think that's part of it too. You're checking out.
Part of the physical feasibility is as the city, as the landowner, we look at any property that could be available for a marina. And I mean, that's almost step one, is then we determine what's the best submerged land for the marina. But
There
if
is
you-
no better place. This is absolutely like it was made for it. The depth is there, the security of it is there. This area was made for it. It really was. And these guys can attest to that. You've probably rarely find a place like this, ever.
How much of that depth is going to be lost to the sand capping project?
2 or 3 feet, it'll still be 18 feet deep.
That's way out. There's only one place that's that deep out there.
Most of it's that deep.
No, it isn't.
But
City manager, per the Melissa's comment and some of the comments we've made, do you know if we did reach out to any of the agencies mentioned?
No, we haven't. So I can give my opinion on that.
Yeah, please.
As this young man alluded to, if we go and set up a meeting with them, they'll basically have nothing to
respond to.
Yeah, they'll be very non-committal. It sounds like a good idea, but when you get a plan together, bring it back to us. That's the kind of answer we're going to get from them.
Okay.
So, and I mean, we'll do whatever we're directed to do, honestly, but my experience in the past, that's the kind of, at this point in a project, that's the kind of response you're going to get from them. They're going to want to see something, correct me if I'm wrong, but.
Absolutely, and if the agencies didn't allow us to build marinas in Florida, we would need to find other jobs. It's possible to build marinas in Florida, that's why we do it.
Gotcha.
I will tell you, like I said, I'm a sure thing. I don't know if any of you guys own stock, but stocks are a risk. I don't even buy stocks. That's how of a sure thing it has to be for me. I would not waste the city's money if I did not think that this was.
I mean, pulling a playbook from what shot me down in the budget, this is $1.50 per resident. You said both against me to justify the city hall, so $1.50 in the whole lot.
$1.50 a resident. Well, any other public comment? Yeah, come on.
$1.30, I'm sorry.
Scott Cunningham.
$1.38.
Hi, Scott Cunningham, 2100 North Atlantic Avenue. Could part of the feasibility study also project sustainability of this project?
Yes.
Because part of my skepticism about these capital projects is we're simultaneously doing a 3-decade retrofit of another capital project that was a moneymaker, but quit being a moneymaker when it quit being maintained.
Could you be clear about what you're talking about as far as the money
The
making?
Cocoa Beach Country Club.
Oh. Has that
So-
ever made money?
Huh?
I don't know if that's ever made money, but go ahead.
Well, it could have or should have, but if it was maintained. But my point is, sustainability was always something that I was very proud of the commission for setting up a sustainability committee, and looking at what does it take to keep these capital projects, maintained, and feasible rather than allowing them to go year by year, arguing over budgets and allowing them to slip into dereliction. It just, make the commitment to sustainability if you're going to make this kind of capital investment.
Thank you. It's a very good point. Appreciate that.
Does this include the year-to-year annual cost for upkeep, or will that be
Yes,
projected
all
in?
that will be projected in that as well. And like I said, I also reached out and I urge you guys to talk to, and he said he will show you all his books and his budget and what it makes, as far as the guy at the marina there at Cape Crossings. In addition to his upkeep and his personnel, and he has to pay for the property and the rent because he goes through the port owns it. He said, in addition to all that, he said, it's still money hand over fist. What we have is the opportunity where we own the property. We have the property. We don't have to. The state owns it. We pay $1 for 99 years or something like that. We don't have that overhead that he has. He said you could run a marina with 2-3 people. He said the maintenance of it, he said, is very minimal. You got your dock. If you use the wood that's that fiber wood, the fake wood, he said you're rarely ever replacing any deck boards. He said you'd be silly not to do it, especially with Blue Points shutting down. He said he's got a 3-month waiting list. He said every marina around has a waiting list. Everybody's waiting to get in. So I'm just telling you guys, I would not do this if I didn't think it was going to do something for the city. But any other comments?
Super quick, again, KP Finke. You guys talk about this year's and next year's budget. I have a hard time if you're going to go approve 150,000 today for the 75,000 that are supposedly in a budget in a year from now that has not been approved. I'm not sure if that is anywhere legit what you're doing here.
Thank you. Okay, any other public comment? I think we've said all we needed to say. Any other comments or questions on the?
I mean, I guess can we have it explained to us how that 75 and 75 would wane?
Do you know how the money distribution would
75
be?
and 75, how does that work? Where we're still, are we paying
So
them
I
all
believe-
up front, or are we paying them half and half?
So they invoice on a completed task basis. So judging from their schedule, it was spread out over 12 months, which would bleed over into the next fiscal year.
So we're not paying them $150,000
No.
right now?
No.
absolutely.
The last 2 tasks are in next year's budget.
Okay.
Task 6 and 7,
Right.
September and December.
So that's how, okay.
Okay, thank you. So we had a motion to disapprove. I don't know if that's exactly how it works, but wouldn't it be a motion to approve? And if you don't get the motion to approve?
Motion to deny. It just has to be an affirmative motion.
All right, so
We
I
were
had
expecting you to start the motion to approve
okay,
it.
so a motion to, we got a motion to deny this and a second. All in favor to deny the project?
Signify by saying aye.
Say aye.
Aye.
All in favor to not deny the project, say aye. Aye.
Nay.
Nay.
Nay. Say nay.
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 Okay. All right, so does anyone want to?
Now
there is no motion on the floor. Motion's
So
So now, does anyone
I
want to
move
make?
to approve a contract with Edgewater, Florida, as written here.
Second.
I got a motion and a second to approve the contract. Any other public comments? Okay.
I wish it was your $132,000.
I do too.
It's 130 years, but
I wish I had this property. I would do it.
What are you saying?
Could you please double check with your lawyers if you can approve next year's budget spending right now?
So, thank you. Address this one? All right. So, 2 things. All of your contracts pursuant to our city standard addendum to contracts have what's called a non-appropriation clause. All right, it's required under the Florida Constitution and so on. It's actually built into the agreement as well, and that is the right to terminate, frankly, at any point on 7 days' notice. So they, as mentioned, they're billing for their time. As they go on, they've given their not to exceed numbers on that. They're building against that. If it comes to be that in the subsequent budget year, you determine that you don't want to fund this project into the next fiscal year, you can not budget for it, and then notice can be given that it's terminated. All work stops at that point.
Well, what happens if you go past $75,000 by, let's say, the end of June?
At that point, if we get to the point where it's being billed and gets beyond what is the budgeted amount for this, then the city manager would come back to you and advise you're about to exceed this. We either do a budget amendment or give notice to terminate.
Okay.
That option remains available to you at any time.
Thank you. So you heard that. I would just suggest to try to work with us on the price and how we work through with our time.
So
how you
what
bill.
that explanation is it's essentially a $75,000 budget on our time until the next fiscal year kicks in and you can approve the remaining cost.
We already approved
after,
it, but it won't kick in until next fiscal year. So it's already been approved, unless for some reason we decide to change the budget.
Okay.
And it is possible to change the budget.
Of course.
But this is how we do, this is how all of the city's contracts operate There- anyway.
Yes.
This is We have all not manner of- abnormal. Yeah, we have all manner of contracts that last multiple years, and that is the way it works with regard to any of them.
And just so you guys know too, I am very serious about putting forward a capital projects fund for the future so that we never have to worry about where we're going to come up with money.
Yeah, I mean, a great point. We're good at building things, but we fail sustaining them.
Yeah.
Great point.
So, okay. So we got to, thank you very much.
I'm seeing, I want to manage one little potential concern I'm seeing across the room. As indicated, right now, it's funded in this fiscal year for $75,000.
Yes.
If it's clipping along and it's getting to that point, a part of project management for the city would be to see that it's getting there in that, and then address it at that time with a potential budget amendment, and come back to the commission and report on it, and then make the decision on how to handle that.
And is Wayne the project manager for this project?
Yes.
Yes, okay. We're good.
Okay. We got a motion and a second to approve, to move forward with this. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed?
Nay.
Motion passes 4-1. Thank you. Very exciting, by the way. I know it's going to be good. All right,
Record.
we are.
We're at
General
item
public
4.
comment.
No, item 4.
Item 4 is discuss a draft ordinance in reference to the position of Assistant City Manager. The draft ordinance would allow an Assistant City Manager to be hired only if the position is provided for in the approved city budget. The hiring of the Assistant City Manager would be subject to a commission interview, selection, and approval. Representative Skip Williams, Commissioner, recommendation discussed. I will tell you, and I apologize, this isn't the latest draft that was published in the agenda. I'm not sure how that happened, but I will read it. It's more simple than that now. It's section 2-11, Assistant City Manager. No Assistant City Manager shall be hired for the city unless the position is provided for in the approved city budget. If an Assistant City Manager is to be hired, the city manager shall be responsible for choosing the Assistant City Manager, subject to the approval of the City Commission. And this mimics the way that the police chief and the fire chief is hired.
I move to approve.
Motion to approve?
It's on for discussion.
Well, it's on for discussion, and what we would need to do is come back for a first reading.
Okay.
I move to bring it to the first reading.
I'm thinking this is a good idea, because
I don't have a second.
in,
She did, she seconded.
Are you second?
yes, I can, yeah, I wanted to say, I think it's actually a good idea, because I mean, depending, I mean, this person could take the place of the actual city manager who we hire. So I think it just makes sense that we'd also have to interview this person, because like in the situation we just had, we might have to have them as our city manager, so,
It would be
that's a
some,
main-
might not be somebody we know and trust like Wayne.
It's very possible.
Yeah, we've known Wayne forever, so, yeah.
Don't pick on him.
Jeez.
He's got a trustworthy face.
You didn't hear what he said.
No, I didn't hear what
He
he
said,
said.
don't pick on me, I'm new.
But yeah, I think that would be my main reason. And then, I mean, we also do it for the fire chief and the police chief. So it makes sense to me. So.
And I agree.
I like it. I agree.
Yeah.
I think it
sounds
just
good.
gives another vehicle
Okay.
for the residents to.
You should ask for
choose their
comment,
leadership.
We
but
got any public comment on that?
Janice Scott, Cocoa Beach. I've been around the city quite a while, and I do feel that this is a good ordinance in most ways, maybe 90%, because, I keep saying Cocoa Beach is 4 square miles. How many people do we need to manage 4 square miles? We've never had a position for assistant city manager, which I guess would be construed by some as part of the purview of the city manager as a staff person and the manager's ability to designate positions and run their staff. The commission has nothing to do with staff. They only have to do with hiring, appointing the city manager. And the acting person, when that has happened in the past, has always been, to my experience, the finance director. I mean, it's an interim thing. With communications the way they are today, it's inconceivable to me that you would need an assistant city manager. I mean, what is going on in Cocoa Beach these days that we are empire building? Thank you.
Thank you, Janice. Anyone else? Go ahead, Melissa. Oh, well, yeah, go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, Tim Tumbley, Cocoa Beach. We actually have had assistant city managers. AJ, he was assistant city manager. First time I saw this, I thought, oh, this has got to be against the charter, because the only people that the city commission can approve to, is the attorney and the city manager. And then I read on, oh yeah, police chief and fire chief, but that was in 1975, I believe, when that was initiated. But then the more I thought of it, as Commissioner Willis mentioned, it is a very important position if we're going to put someone in that position. And the way it was presented by the attorney is if it's budgeted, and if that's going to be a position, which it isn't at this time, then you can have that kind of discussion. So this is good to have a discussion. It's good placement for it. It fits the charter and all our ordinances. So I think it's a legitimate, reasonable thing to do at this time. So I'm for it 100%. Thanks.
Appreciate that. Thanks, Tim. Melissa?
Actually, the way it was written and posted, I think it was a violation of the charter. And that's why you redid it.
That's why she just
That's why
read
you
the
redid it,
full
because it was a
bylaw.
violation of the charter, which you all got my email and said that it was, because if you look at section 2.09, prohibitions, B, appointments and removals. Neither the commission nor any of its members shall in any manner dictate the appointment or removal of any city employee whom the city manager or the subordinates of the city manager are empowered to appoint. So our charter was written for a reason, and the reason was it was voted on saying we're going to have a strong city manager and a city commission. That's how we're going to do it. Now, I agree with you can go ahead and you can approve the chief, but if you guys would decide that you were going to, okay, I'm going to appoint and I'm going to employ the deputy chief, okay, and the chief. So, now you've taken the whole upper hierarchy and you're imposing and you're now micromanaging the city. You're deciding you're going to manage it. And that's not your job. Your job is not to operate and mess with the day-to-day operations of the city. You set the budget, you hire the city manager, you hire the city attorney, you approve the fire chief and the police chief. But that's it. You have to allow your city manager the flexibility to hire the people he or she needs to operate as you are dictating to them to do. So, yeah, we have had a city manager. It was AJ, but AJ also was personnel. It was two positions, and if it is in the budget, then she should be able to hire them, or he, whichever person or is a city manager. But dictating, you're stepping into the charter. You're stepping into our Bible. I think you need to step out of it. And if you're going to do it, then you're going to have to do a referendum to the people. Because the people are the ones that elect you, and the people are the ones that live in the city.
Thank you, Melissa. Any other public comment? Right, so you said that was just to put towards...
To discuss, and
it.
we can bring it back for first reading in January.
I think we all think that sounded good to us, so
Okay.
appreciate that. All right, I guess any other general public comment?
Flag. I know it's yours. I gave it to you.
Yeah, come on,
Give it
Melissa.
to you.
I'm not receiving it.
As a citizen and an owner of condominium, I want to tell you what's happening to our condominiums because of the new legislation and because of insurance. It is deplorable. Our insurance and our homeowners association has increased by 300% just this year because of the insurance costs. And then because the legislation has required all these studies and feasibilities and whatever for each condominium and their reserves, you're now seeing condominium owners being from a low of like $1,200 assessment to $40,000 in assessment. You're going to see condominiums all along Cocoa Beach. They're going to be selling. A lot of the people that you don't understand, they're on fixed income. They come down here, they buy their condo, they know their homeowner association is going to go up, but to go up 300% is absurd. And then keep going, and the assessments will keep coming and coming and coming. It's something that a lot of the citizens of Cocoa Beach live in condominiums and are being affected by this. I really think that instead of looking at whatever silly stuff we look at sometimes, this is an important one. You're going to lose these people. They're going to sell their condos. The market's going to go down because there's so many condos on the market. I mean, there's a couple of the condos now, you look on, there's like 14 units for sale because the people can't afford the assessment and they can't afford to have gone from like $400 homeowners association fee to $850. They're fixed income. That's a huge jump to have to do every month. And then on top of it, you got the assessment. And since the assessment is not because of damage and you're recovering from insurance, you can't get your insurance company to give you some relief from that assessment as you could if it was a roof damage. But we have got to use your clout as elected officials to go talk to other elected officials in the state and say, enough is enough. We can't afford this. And our citizens can't afford that increase. It is devastating to some of them. So I'd like you all at least think about what you could do.
City Attorney, is there really much that we can do towards?
You can, we do have a lobbyist, and we could ask the lobbyist to intervene. I do know that in Fort Myers Beach, our firm represents that municipality, and they were devastated. I mean, they were just almost wiped clean. We've done letters to the local delegation there, asking them to sponsor bills that would keep do something to help with the insurance situation. And on top of, I believe it's affecting everyone in Brevard County
inspections,
now.
yeah.
All the inspections that are required and the mandatory funding that's required for that at the end of next year. That's going to hit people very, very hard. And I know that there are some local delegations that have been asked in letters by cities to try to sponsor something, and I think that might be a good idea because there are an awful lot of condos here.
Yeah.
I've followed this somewhat, and one of the avenues that's currently not allowed for condominiums is to self-insure, where they take, like, what everybody divvies up for their insurance fund, you know, that they have to pay for insurance as part of
just
their
manage it
homeowner association fee. They just put that in a reserve, and they do that every year, and they become basically self-insured. And if something happens, they have the money to fix whatever happens. But the state law doesn't allow them to do that at this point. So the legislation, from what I understand, is trying to work an avenue where those condominiums can be relieved of having to have these formal companies do their insurance and allow them under certain regulations to be self-insured.
Yeah, I get that, but there's just not, people are just not as responsible as other people. It would never work. I mean, I feel for you for sure. I own 9 condos myself, so I know exactly what you're going through. 5 of my units, there's talk of $20,000 assessments. So I mean, I could potentially spend 150 grand next year just for general upkeep of my condos. So I'm fully on board. I will try to see if there's anything that we can do, and I assume the rest of the commission would be on board with that as well. So thank you for that comment. Go ahead, Janice.
Janice Scott, Cocoa Beach. Well, this insurance thing, started about 10 or 15 years ago when we had hurricane damage around here, and a lot of people who did not have mortgages decided to self-insure their property. So it's just been getting worser and worser. Okay. So I wanted to acknowledge that today's the 82nd anniversary of Pearl Harbor. And I wanted to also state and hope that you all will join me in being extremely proud to be an American. We are, one of the most outstanding facts about this country is that post-World War II, we really rebuilt the countries, Japan and Germany namely, who we had spent a lot of money and lost a lot of lives fighting overseas. And that is a great act of magnanimity that I don't think you have seen anywhere else in the world. So I hope you will remember that and teach your kids and your grandkids about that. And last, even though Cocoa Beach is a nonpartisan city, we all know which party affiliations people have when they run for election here. And based on our knowledge, I hope that next year, during the budget process in particular, you all will be more unified in showing a conservative position where it comes to spending taxpayer money. Like I keep saying, we are 4 square miles. I just cannot understand what the rationale is for the expansion of city government here. The services and the kinds of things that go on. I just remind you that the responsibility of government is to provide us with services we can't provide for ourselves in a practical way. Water, sewer, safety, roads, and all the rest of it's just nice to have. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
and Merry
Janice.
Christmas, Happy New
Merry
Year.
Christmas.
See you
Thank
next
you.
year.
Do you guys actually know, Commission, do you actually know how many city employees we have? Has anybody?
220?
What?
It's in the budget, 220, 223, something like that?
Like all together, I think we have right around, what is it, 355, 354?
I was under the impression it was 255, but I could be wrong.
That includes part-time employees.
That includes, well, that could, yeah, and it includes fire, police, and everything else.
Is that guy?
A surprise or no?
Yeah.
Item K, public comment. Tim Tumulty, 59-year-old resident of Cocoa Beach. I would just like to suggest that the city host a Robert's Rules symposium for all the committees, boards, including the esteemed commission, on how to use Robert's Rules, to follow the agenda, to not speak after the public has spoken, because you go off on tangents and then all of a sudden you're asking the city attorney a question that they're not prepared for. You're asking the city manager a question that they're not prepared for. Then you're pulling up the chiefs and everyone else asking them questions they're not prepared for. When you can take that question that wonderful resident asked, they're very good questions, and then research them and then come up with a solid answer afterward. Shortens the meetings, which I'm extending a little bit too long right now. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Appreciate your comments, Tim. And Robert's Rules of Order is a very good guide, not required. Thank you. Meeting adjourned.